What's up YouTube? JPR Tech here, and I got a video for you related with the Chuwi Hi12. Recently I've been uploading some of those videos and reviewing the actual tablet, the unboxing, and also the stylus as well. But today is going to be a little different. I'm going to put this aside and we're going to focus mainly on the keyboard dock accessory that it comes with, and also the USB performance, both in the tablet as well as the dock. You see, the dock here, it doesn't have a battery, so it won't extend your actual battery life of your tablet. But what it does have is two external USB 2.0 on both sides of the tablet, which that's great for you people with a lot of USB drives and whatnot. So does it really hinder the speeds being outside externally docked to the tablet? And also, how's the performance of the USB 3 port here on the tablet as well as the USB 2? So I already did a little bit of benchmarking, so we're gonna take a look at that now. But first of all, let's just try a USB mouse. I usually use a Bluetooth mouse, but just for testing purposes, we're gonna hook it up to a small USB mouse that I have here and plug it on the right side port. And as you can see, instantly it's on and it's smooth. The tracking is perfect. There is no lag whatsoever. This is just to give you an idea of the read and write speeds of the internal hard drive. We can see that the sequential read is hovering over around the 130 120th megabytes per second, as well as the writing is somewhere between the 30 and the 40 megabytes per second. So it's pretty decent for these, I know, eMMC flash storage. And then the external micro USB card, which I do have 128 gigs installed in there, is also averaging from 35 to 40 read and also the write speeds as well. Onto the external USB drive. Now this is the one on the top. I connected a USB drive and I get about read times of 35 to 40 megabytes per second, and also the write time actually is pretty good. It still gets up to the 40s and 50s, so that's not bad. That's pretty average for an external hard drive. And remember, all my drives are not externally powered. They're all powered from the USB, so that's important to note, that this tablet can power, read and write external devices at the same time. So that is really good to know. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna open up our PC folder and see how quickly this is a USB 3 external drive. It's a 1 terabyte external drive, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna see the light indicator light is on, and in a couple of seconds, there we go. Took about 4 or 5 seconds to pop up, and this is all our media in here. I got some 4K footage from my iPhone, and we can see that it's reading all the icons still, but already I can play the external footage, and as you can see, it's smooth playing. So you can play 4K video. Well, this is not technically like an FS7, Sony FS7 file, but it's still pretty decent. It's still a 4K file, and you can see that it plays smoothly off an external drive. What we're gonna do is we're gonna unplug this drive and see how well the keyboard dock performs with a USB drive. So let's go ahead and plug this in. Even though this is USB 2.0, so quickly, it's the first time connecting it here. So Windows is already recognizing the drive, and it looks like it's a no-go. Yeah, you can hear the drive trying to power on. So now we know that the keyboard, even though it's good enough for USB thumb drives or USB mouses and whatnot, but it is not strong enough to power up hard drive, an external hard drive. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna prove real quick that it does read USB drive. I think this is my installation. Yes, that's correct. See, I can install Windows off. This is my Windows install recovery, my recovery disk, and it's reading it fine. So it's okay for minor things such as thumb drives. Just you won't be able to run full hard drives. So let's get this out. Now that you know that the thumb drives work okay with this, that means that you can have actually effectively thumb drives and peripherals connected to the keyboard dock and have your full-time backup drives or your media drives connected through the USB 3. So that's really awesome. So let's go ahead and run a really quick bench here. Let's go over to our Crystal Disk Mark 64-bit, and we're going to try to test this. It's already there. So let's just use the 500 megabytes. I definitely won't be able to reach 500 megabytes of file or transfer speed on this drive, so we're just gonna leave it at that and just one cycle, and let's hit them all. And it should take a little bit, so I'm just gonna fast forward this and skip to the end, so because it is gonna take a little bit of time.
So just hang on a second.
So as we can see already, it's still benchmarking the hard drive right now. It's still testing the read, and it just finished testing the read speeds, and I can already tell it's doubling the speeds of the USB 2 port. The same drive on the USB 2 port is being doubled right now on the read speed, and actually maybe even 3 times faster. So I can tell is that it is 3 times faster in the reading, but barely double the write speed. So I guess it is working as a USB 3 port. So you can be confident to use the USB 3 port for any of your hard drive needs. Alright, so moving on to our review of the keyboard dock, is we're gonna actually reboard the actual keyboard itself. Now the actual keyboard physically has a great build. The top part of the keyboard is very cool metallic feeling. So, well, actually it is metallic, that's why it's very cool to the touch. So it does have a premium feel to it, and the edges also, the edge accents match the tablet's really fine metal edges, so they're really nice and pleasing to the eyes. So here we go, the benchmarking just finished, and yes, it does double the speed of the USB 2 port. So we're just gonna eject this, and we're gonna focus mainly on the keyboard itself right now and the trackpad. So looking over down to the design, we can see that let's move out the dock here. Windows is asking if I want to switch over to tablet mode, and that's really cool. It recognizes when you do have a keyboard dock on it, so that way you can change to tablet mode, so it's more touch friendly, finger friendly. But anyway, I'm just gonna leave it there because we're gonna put it back on the dock now. So you looking around the keyboard, we can see that it's a full-size keyboard. It's really spacious, really big, but they don't waste a lot of space because the margin on the sides is really thin. So that's great. For the keys itself, they're very spacious, and you can fit your 2 hands there. And it does have media keys using the FN shortcut. So you got the important volume up and downs, and the media controls such as the track forward and previous track, stop, play, and pause buttons. So that's really awesome. The keyboard is great. Only thing I gotta warn you, give you a heads up, is that the actual dock itself, where it docks in, is a little plastic. This is plastic, it's not metal. So this is metal, and then it goes over to plastic, and I don't know why they did that, because this is the most important part. This is the part that is actually holding the actual tablet. So you really need good quality here, but they skipped out on the quality on the dock. I don't know why they did that, but that's plastic. And then when you go over to the back of the keyboard, when you go over to the back, you can see that this is also plastic. But since the front is metal, it doesn't flex as much. So I can hold the tablet here from this edge. It will be front heavy, but it won't bend, and that's the important thing. So let's dock it back in place. It just snaps in place, and you could hear that it's registering the keyboard. So I can hold it, and there's not too much wobble, and that's pretty good. I can still use the touchscreen like normal. There you go. So it's pretty good. So overall, build quality is awesome. I mean, they did cut around the corners in some areas, but can't complain, it's really good. Now, let's move on to the actual keyboard as a notebook. How does it work with the tablet? So I already mentioned, I touched on the fact that you can use the touchscreen while being docked. It's fine. It doesn't affect the functionality. I can still use the touchscreen. Fine. But the reason you get a keyboard is so that you don't get fingerprints on the screen and you could still use a keyboard. We do have the shortcut on the edges, the edge shortcuts on the trackpad. Now about the trackpad, it has great traction. It does feel really good around when you move around your cursor. You don't feel any lag. It doesn't skip around. It doesn't feel jerky or jumpy. It is pretty good. The only thing I have negative about it is at the edges. It's too sensitive. It's really easy to trigger the shortcut, the swipe shortcuts such as these. They're very easy to well, that could be a plus for you if you often use them a lot, but I really don't want to close my windows that I do have full screen. Sometimes I just by accident happen to minimize the window, and if you do it again, it'll be completely gone and my window just disappear. So that's a little a drawback on that, and something to keep in mind when you use the trackpad. Always make sure your fingers are halfway in the trackpad or below, so that way you don't activate that minimizing effect. But other than that, the trackpad feels great. Scrolling is pretty good. It doesn't have the smooth scrolling like saying with the finger. You don't have that scroll effect, but it is very effective. It scrolls about 2 or maybe 3 lines at a time. You do have zoom, so pinch to zoom. It works fine here. So that's about the trackpad. It works great. You got the 2-finger tap to right click, and you also have 3-finger gestures to change your applications. You can swipe up and swipe down and swipe left and right to switch application, and that's really awesome. All right, for the final test, this is the most important part of the keyboard dock, is the actual keys. How do they feel? I kind of have mixed feelings about this, and I'll explain why now. When, for example, let's find Word here. Let's type Word. Let's open up a Word document, and we're just gonna type away randomly here. And again, the zooming works great. Not like the website, it was lagging a little bit. You can tell that it is working really good. It's registering my fingers fine. Now the actual keyboards, it does have little to no flex, and that is really good. Again, it testifies to the build quality. But the thing I don't like about the keyboard is the inconsistency on the keys. For example, the left side of the keyboard and the center, the keys seem to be sticking out a little bit more than the right side. So the arrow keys, the shift and the enter keys and the slash key and the backspace they don't stick out as much as this side. So again, it's a cheap keyboard. It's only like a $30 keyboard, but that's something to keep in mind. The keyboard track is not as good, but good enough. You can get used to it. But I did notice that some of the don't register good. Sometimes I get mistyped. Or another thing that is really annoying is when I'm in the middle of typing and I accidentally trigger. Like right now, I just triggered the notification center. I didn't want to do that, but I gotta get it out because my thumb touches the edges. Or when I go space, now actually zooming with one finger. My thumb actually are triggering the zoom. So that's the one thing you gotta keep in mind. Be cautious of where everything is, because you will trigger something. Once you get used to that, you consciously avoid the trackpad, you should be fine. It works great. But of course, it is not like a regular keyboard, like say my Logic Cool. This is the K811. and it's really awesome keyboard. I'm gonna have a review on this later on. All right, so overall, what's my view? The overall verdict of this is that it's great quality for the price. You do have to sacrifice, cut a few corners on it, but it has all the needs you need for a typing experience. So does it replace a laptop? No, it doesn't, but it can be very competitive to other cheap laptops, or even like the other Chinese brand laptops that don't turn to a tablet. This is a great alternative for it. So you are really actually getting the Ultrabook experience with just $30 more. When you do close it, it activates the lock or the sleep mode, so it works like a smart cover. And when I open it, it activates it again. So hopefully you guys enjoy the review of the Chuwi Hi12 keyboard. Let me know what you guys think on the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you on the next one. Peace.